If a book doesn't hold enough value, I'm simply not going to source it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Manny. This is Manny's Book Bag. There are a series of questions that come up in the Facebook groups regarding library books. The first question that I want to answer, the most common question of all, is can we sell library books? That is a big yes, of course. You can sell former library books. Not only can you sell library books on Amazon, but it's also quite likely that certain library sales are going to have a heavy percentage of their books be former library. So keep that in mind, because if you decide that you are not going to sell library books, you are giving up on a source of books that could be making you a lot of money.
More money, more money, more money.
Another very common question is, how do I grade library books? I grade all of my library books in good condition. On occasion, I will list them in acceptable condition. If you look at Amazon's condition guidelines, I'll put them up right here. The very first time that Amazon makes any mention at all about library stamps or library markings of any kind is under good. So I list all of my books in good condition. If I am sourcing and I find a library book that is very valuable and it has a couple of issues, possibly with the condition of the cover, anything that would make me want to grade it as acceptable, I will do so. If a book doesn't hold enough value, I'm simply not going to source it. So I can tell you that 99% of the former library books that I source are going to go in good condition. Another really common question that comes up quite a bit has to do with how you're going to describe this book to your potential buyer. The most important thing that you can remember is that when you write out your condition note, or when you write out your boilerplate condition note for former library books, you have to make sure you disclose within that description that it is former library. I like to describe a former library book somewhere along the lines of former library book in good condition with typical stamps and markings. Then, of course, make all of your other notes. If it has writing, if it has highlighting, if there's any other markings that you need to describe that are not library markings, now would be the time to do so in that description. But always lead with the fact that it's a library book and that it has those typical stamps and markings so that your buyer is not caught unawares. I have heard of some sellers that are finding pristine library books, probably books that have never even been checked out, that are absolutely gorgeous, and outside of the library stamps and markings, really have nothing wrong with them, so they're grading them in very good condition. I would honestly tell you to do what you think is right, but honestly, I would stick to good or lower. I would not even go there, because Amazon's condition guidelines would be on your side if you played it conservatively. Another really common question is there any way that I can de-library the book? Can I take off those stamps? Can I take off the markings and sell it as not a library book? I would caution you quite firmly that these inner stamps, these internal barcodes, even these pockets right here, I would tell you don't remove them, because even if you did, they're still library books, and let's be honest, they're on there quite firmly and you're probably going to damage your book. One more thing I got to let you know about: if you are selling library books, watch out for these right here. These are internal library barcodes, and even though they do Sharpie over these, you got to make sure you cover them up. It is Amazon's guidelines that the only visible barcode on any product should be the one that their team member is going to scan when they receive them in or when they send them out. So just be absolutely sure that you make a part of your process that when you are prepping library books, you cover this barcode up. Just like that.
Get it? Got it. Good.
And one last thing about library books. If you have a decent number of library books that are in good condition, especially if they're hardcover, I actually like to utilize them during the box packing process. So if I'm selling a bunch of books that are in really nice condition, especially if I'm listing a bunch of them that are in very good condition, I'm going to use lesser conditioned books to protect the condition of those books. So I'm going to use former library books and acceptable books on the base. I'm going to use those books to fill the gaps. I'm going to use those books to cover the top. I'm going to try and create this shell of books with my best books not exposed. But here's the question of the day. Do you sell former library books? And if you do, are there any tips associated with library books that I have forgotten to mention? Go ahead and include those in the comments below so we can all share the knowledge. Well, that's all for today's video, folks. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me make more videos just like this one, please remember to share, like, and subscribe to support the channel. If you haven't already liked the video, give it a quick thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, tap on that book bag right there. While you're in there, turn on those bell notifications, and YouTube's going to let you know whenever I post a new video. Till next time, let's go make some money.